5 seconds are remaining in this match. Goes for the arm, goes for the arm. Thiago Macedo is the winner.
Fight of the weekend, I'm sorry. I don't even know what's coming, but that's fight of the weekend.
Incredible.
As a basketball fan, I've always heard the phrase defense wins championships. But what about in jiu-jitsu? It was the year of quarantine 2020 where no one dared cough in public. The IBJJF had pushed its annual Pan Ams tournament from March to October, and this 7-month layoff would mark the return of their first major held since the pandemic began. Surprisingly, many of the big names still managed to come and play, and this was definitely the case for the featherweight division, which featured the likes of 2-time world champion Gianni Grippo, world champion Matheus Gabriel, and one of my picks for fighters to watch, Samuel Naggai, whose purple belt world championship run just a few years earlier was still fresh in my mind. And then there was Thiago Macedo, who at the time I had never heard of. At this point in his 5-year black belt career, he hadn't placed at a single major IBJJF tournament, like Gi and No-Gi Worlds, Pan Ams, Euros, and the Brazilian Nationals, the majority of the time falling short in either the first or second round. Most of these defeats did come at the hands of black belt world champions, like Paulo Miel, Jamil Hill-Taylor, and others. And 9 out of those 11 losses were decided by no more than a few advantages. He kept coming so close, but just couldn't get over the hump. But this time, things clicked for him early on. Thiago's first match was against the young and less experienced black belt Gabriel Silva, which resulted in a quick triangle finish. Next, against a solid opponent in Adam Benayoun, he hit a sneaky 50-50 armbar, the rare proof that some action can actually happen from 50-50 in the gi. As great as this start was, his next match would be a stiff step up in competition. Multiple-time Pans and world champion Gianni Grippo. And coincidentally, this was actually the point that I jumped on Flow Grappling to start watching. Gianni's got this in the bag, I thought. Well, not exactly. To start the match, Thiago hit a beautifully timed shot as Gianni went to pull guard and was awarded 2 points. From this point on, Gianni would throw the entire kitchen sink at Thiago in an attempt to get on top on the scoreboard. And so began the back defense wizardry from Thiago, as if he was a descendant of the turtle god Eduardo Telles. The action begins with Gianni hunting the back by chaining some berimbolo and waiter guard entries. Thiago defends the bolo well by controlling the top leg and getting his hips away. But Gianni abandons the berimbolo and makes his way completely behind Thiago, with 2 hooks in what's called the baby bolo or crab ride position. Gianni tries to pull him in, but Thiago counters by getting up to his feet and leaning forward, forcing Gianni to have to abandon the crab ride in order to continue chasing the back. Now, the leg pant grip that Thiago's maintained is key here because he's able to use it to monitor and defend the hook, and Gianni, being aware of this, breaks it and then jumps back into the crab ride to force him back down to the mat. But Thiago is quick to regain the pant grip as he falls off to the side, then pummel in his leg to rid of the hook and continue scooting out to escape. Okay, so this Thiago guy has some good defense, I remember thinking. But Gianni had him in a bit of trouble there, and with 8 minutes left, he'll capitalize on something. A minute later, Gianni goes for another berimbolo, but Thiago again does a good job countering. Just like last time, Gianni tries to get to the back by transitioning to the baby bolo, but before Gianni can get there, Thiago high steps his leg out and pulls Gianni's leg in while turning into him, ending up in 50-50. From here, Gianni's able to come up and expose Thiago's back. Thiago immediately keeps his arms low to monitor the hooks. Instead of jumping for the crab ride like last time, Gianni switches it up and throws in the right hook over his arm. Thiago counters by rolling through and blocking the second hook as he comes up onto his knees and back up to the feet, forcing a reset. Now, here's a perfect example of Thiago's brilliant strategy and awareness that you'll see throughout this video, that I'm sure all the aspiring IBJJF competitors will appreciate. Whether it be from a sweep or a takedown attempt, Thiago always makes sure to keep his knees on the mat for no longer than 3 seconds in order to avoid giving up any points. Sometimes it isn't about being the most skilled competitor, but knowing the rules to a T. So back to standing they go. Thiago's looking to maintain his grip on Gianni's right leg, which is a hook that he knows Gianni as a righty prefers to throw in first. So Gianni adapts and changes his strategy again. This time after he breaks the grip, when he goes to throw in the right hook, he doesn't overcommit, and instead commits to the unblocked left hook, and it's a success. With one hook and the seatbelt locked in, it becomes a fight for the remaining hook, which can make the difference of a whopping 4 points. Thiago initially attempts to shuck him over the top, but Gianni is ready to adjust to double unders to stay on the back. Thiago postures and pushes the hooks down to make it difficult for Gianni to stay on the back without sliding off. And it works, forcing Gianni to have to undo his hooks so that he can use his feet on the mat to regain position. Gianni hops back on and immediately threatens the bow and arrow, but Thiago stays in great position with his chin tucked to protect his neck while he continues to fight the hooks, not allowing Gianni to get the right position to go for the choke. As Thiago postures again, Gianni transitions the hook to behind Thiago's leg in order to stay on the back, but without any hooks, Thiago shucks him right off. I remember rooting for Thiago at this point. He was the big underdog and was managing to hold the lead purely through his crafty back defense. But Gianni was getting close. He was adapting each time. The two were now more than halfway into the match, just above the 4-minute mark. Gianni works his way from K-guard and again back to the crab ride. Instead of leaning forward like the last few times, Thiago tries to explosively back roll out, but Gianni stays on it. When Thiago goes to his standing back defense with his right hand pan grip as expected, Gianni wastes no time and immediately goes to his new left hook first game plan. But being up on points, Thiago chooses to roll out of bounds in order to force a reset, which Gianni obviously isn't happy about. All he has to show for the back take attempt is a couple advantages, and Thiago gets a penalty. It still isn't enough to get any points. He's gotta start scoring. And so Thiago knows he's gonna have to survive a last minute onslaught. After working into a strong pressure knee cut, Gianni gets through the guard, forces the turtle, and slips in the near side hook, along with the seatbelt. Now the race is on. Gianni has to get around to Thiago's far hip to complete the back take, or go for the bow and arrow choke. And well, Thiago obviously doesn't want that, so he keeps rolling his hips away to get chest to back separation. When they get to the edge of the mat, Gianni transitions to the crucifix, still threatening the armbar and back take. But Thiago does a good job of controlling Gianni's leg and spins into him to free his head with just 45 seconds remaining. And with time running out, Thiago pulls off the upset to advance to the semifinals. Before we get into my favorite escape from Thiago in this tournament, I'd like to mention that many of these back defense techniques can be seen in even greater detail, explained by the back defense wizard himself. By clicking the link in the description, you can head over to BJJ Fanatics to check out the Turtle and Back Defense Blueprint by Thiago Macedo. Odds are, when you're watching this video, there's a 40 to 50% off any instructional deal going on, so take advantage. Any instructionals bought through me help out the channel, so a sincere thank you in advance. Now back to the video. In the semifinals, Thiago finds himself matched up against up-and-coming black belt Samuel Naggai. This was Samuel's first year at black belt, and as I said before, he was definitely a competitor I had my eye on. The match was a slow tactical one, with only one advantage being scored by Sam off a double guard pull. With only 2 minutes left, Thiago sweeps him to claim the lead. Sam is quick to answer, making his way behind Thiago and going for a sweep of his own. Instead of conceding points by giving up the sweep, Thiago chooses to turn away from the guy to show his back, while making sure to stay off his knees to avoid conceding any points. It might appear as if Thiago isn't actively defending the hooks, but really, he's just throwing out the bait. The guy explodes for the hook and then the seatbelt control, but with beautiful timing, as Thiago blocks the hooks, he shoots his hips all the way to the ceiling and flips the guy right over his head. Man, was I hyped. Yeah, I said hyped, something no one's probably ever said while watching back defense. But it was so dope. So with time ticking, Thiago plays it strategically to run the clock and get the W, and onto the biggest stage yet of his BJJ career. The Pan Am Finals against the reigning Worlds and Pans champ Matheus Gabriel. Matheus, just like Gianni, was well known for his back takes. By this point though, I knew Thiago's back defense was elite. It was bound to be another great clash of styles. Win or lose, he displayed some amazing strategy and technique and made it further than anyone believed. But today, he was here for the gold. The match begins with Matheus on the attack, looking to pass the guard. Thiago wrestles up, but after a reversal attempt, Matheus continues to put the heat on, looking to spin around to Thiago's back. With Thiago attempting to stay squared up, Matheus goes for the crucifix. Thiago's active hands fight the hooks as he gets his back to the mat and rotates out. Soon after they reset, Thiago wrestles up again and this time scores 2 points for the takedown. putting him up 2-0. Now there's under 4 minutes left, and the reigning champ Matheus is looking to get something going. He creates an opportunity by entering the crab ride off a berimbolo attempt. Thiago goes for the pant grip and attempts to stand up just as he had done to Gianni, but Matheus doesn't allow it by pulling him in with the back of his collar. Thiago's gotta work a different crab ride escape now. He sits to his left side and uses his forearm as a frame against Matheus' shin as he back rolls over his left shoulder. As Matheus loses positioning, he tries to slap on a bow and arrow choke, but his hips are way out of position and Thiago escapes. Right back on the attack, Matheus' deep de la Riva entry breaks Thiago down. Matheus goes to come up for the sweep with a double pant grip. Thiago can't give up any points or else he'll lose on count of advantages. He sticks to the game plan and gives his back to Matheus. Matheus lets go of one of the pant grips and replaces it with a grip right at the nape of the neck to begin testing the waters with his right hook. He goes for a tighter hip control, but that allows Thiago to now get the pant grip, knowing that's the side Matheus wants to get the hook in first. Matheus then switches his grips as he goes for the hook on the other side, similar to Gianni's adapted approach. He does a good job of breaking down Thiago's base and nearly getting in his second hook, but Thiago commits both hands to the one hook to peel it off, and then sits over the hook as he falls to the mat. Time is running out. Matheus switches to bow and arrow grips to set up for the choke. When he plants his hand to the mat to readjust, Thiago springs up to get back into the standing defense. Matheus goes for the choke, and this time, it's tight.
Seconds are remaining in this match. Goes for the arm, goes for the arm. Thiago Macedo is the winner.
He'd done it. The underdog did it. Through strategy, heart, and a masterclass of defense, he'd won what he'd been chasing for years. An IBJJF major title at the highest level of the sport, and in such a unique fashion. So unique that years later I felt the need to dedicate a video to his performance. It's kind of funny that while making this video, I had a thought that, well, yeah, sure, his back defense is incredible, but wait, people are constantly making their way to his back. That's kinda not really a good thing. But where he might lack the skill in one area, boy does he make up for it in another. And it's an area that I feel is not paid enough attention to by most jiu-jitsu practitioners. Everyone knows the fancy submissions and sweeps, but what about defending quite arguably the most dominant position in BJJ, the back? Principles like knowing when to monitor the neck and hooks, when to use a standing defense, perfect timing, when to posture versus when to lean forward. And this is why back magicians like Thiago Macedo and Eduardo Teles deserve to be studied by everyone. Those who don't are really missing out.